All right. Good evening, everyone. I think we are all in the room. So I am here with and Pratik, both girls from Asansol, and Supriya is taking social science from class 7 to class 12, and Pratik is teaching class 12. So we are all from the social science department, and I think it goes for all the departments as well, that we are all in this room because social science. Very interesting, which said that we have to sort of juggle between the between our school curriculum and social justice, and how we can embed social justice into our everyday classrooms. So, Supriya, can you see the first slide, please? Let's just take an example, and then we can see that it is something that we can practice very easily in our own classes. So let's say we are teaching class 6, and there's a chapter there which says major domains of the earth, which talks about the lithosphere, the atmosphere, hydrosphere, and the biosphere. So here, when you're talking to the age group which is in class 6, about 11 to 12 years old, and then we can talk to them about the SDGs. As you can see on the slides, you can link the SDGs to this chapter. The SDG 13 for climate action, SDG 12 for responsible consumption and production, SDG 7, affordable and clean energy, and so on and so forth. And, as you sort of go through this lesson, if you ask the children that can you link an SDG to this chapter, they are the ones who are going to give you all the answers. You don't even have to mention, you don't have to really teach them. They will come up with the responses. And then, you can, through this chapter, you can talk about the effects of global warming. You can talk about the ozone layer, the damage, why is it happening, and what are we supposed to do with it. And you can again link it to a goal. So next slide. So now we move on to class 7, which is another group of like 12 to 13 years. And here we can talk about the various forms of energy and the different kinds of power, the shift that the world is making, from consuming non-renewable energy into the shift that is seen into renewable energy, like the solar power, the wind power, the hydro. So, you can link these with that does in class 7. So, can we go? So here in this, I believe that, for class 7, you can have a lot of graphic. So, the next slide. You can have a lot of okay. The next slide shows that you can introduce the concept of energy power through this and pictures which are available on the smart systems. Also, 5 years back or 10 years back, what was the amount of non-renewable resources which all pertaining to whichever country we are from, and compare it to the graph of renewable sources of energy which are being used today. So the children will be able to see a remarkable change, the change mindset, or not, or comparison, and then again you can link it with SDG, and you can make them think on the power, include social justice. So this is, instead of just going to school, we can put a of element of social.
Can you see my screen? The screen that I'm sharing?
Now,
yeah.
Here, could share. No, I'm not able to. Yeah, now I think there is a date in countries that want to political place there. it could be a sovereign government, it could be a socialist. So when we, share, explain these terms,
Jai, would you like to go? Can you mute and tell me quickly? Start with those their hands to go somewhere. Angela, you come room. Angela, you back.
a state, as a secular state. But if you read the newspaper and if you listen to you in your community, in your society, maybe in your city, wherever, you will see that it may or may not stand 100% true. The word secular may not be so true anymore, or it may be, it's both the things. So the activity which which thought be really interesting for us as teachers also, is to take up a few newspapers, tell the boys to bring a few newspapers into the classroom, and then cut out snippets of the news, which is that, yes, this country is secular, as it claims to be, or this country is not secular, and snippets, related to that. So in the end, the boys either have a debate, a discussion, either house-wise or roll number-wise, or however you want to divide, or they can even put up a collage expressing their views, but taken from the newspaper, taken from the reality of the world. So these were my inputs with the social science, and I'm sure you all have probably done all these activities in your classes, and you have better ideas. But before we share your ideas, I would like to have Supriya ma'am, would you like to take over from here?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So,
Sorry to
Pratik,
interrupt.
can you help me with the slides?
Supriya, don't worry, I'm sharing the screen.
Yes, thank you so much.
Should I
I'm
stop?
sorry.
Apologize. Yeah, I apologize. It was because of
Yeah,
the...
go ahead.
Okay, so can I have my slide, please? The one that speaks.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Not at all.
Okay.
Is it this one? Secular?
No, next one. Agriculture.
After the secularism, after that.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you so much, Pratik. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are. Go ahead.
So I have taken up this topic as agriculture. As you all can see, it's a chapter that is included in class 10. So class 10 and 12, it's more about the, completion of syllabus on time. So apart from telling the students, teaching the students about the significance and the problems of agriculture, I tried to include the SDGs, the SDG goals, like goal number 2 that speaks about zero hunger, goal number 12 responsible consumption and production, and also goal number 13, that is climate action. So we all know that agriculture is the backbone of Indian economy. About 60% of the Indian population is engaged in this sector, and about 18.3% of the GDP comes from this sector. However, if we look at the fact, not only the production is increasing because of agriculture, even pollution is increasing day by day. because of agriculture. And we are using about 30% of the groundwater at present. So because of agriculture, we are not having, just a positive impact, but a lot of negative impact is also happening. So focusing on those negative impacts as well, I was teaching class 10 about zero hunger, about how to be, how to practice responsible consumption and production, and also about climate action. Yes, and then we were using different videos, different graphs, and we were also looking at the case studies related to this chapter. And going on to the next topic, that is, I have taken that one from, class 8. This is disaster management. But before this, I would like to speak about the next topic that is there, which is all about glacial deposits. Pratik, can you? Yes. So glacial process and associated landforms. This is one of the chapters from, class 11 geography. And this chapter is all about the meaning and types of glaciers and different types of landforms that are created because of the processes that are related to a glacier, right? However, in this particular chapter, in order to make my students more, aware about the fact that climate change is not a myth, I included this topic or this, very interesting topic of glacier lake outburst flood. And then I told them as to what glacial lake outburst flood is all about. Those who are from India, we know as to what happened in the year 2021 in Uttarakhand. The flood that happened there, it was a result of the, flood coming from the melting of the ice from one of the glaciers, right? So after speaking about GLOF, I showed them one of the videos in which, Greta Thunberg, a climate activist, was giving a speech and then challenging all the world leaders about climate change. And then after that, I took a bowl of ice and then also a candle and then tried to hold the candle near the bowl, a steel bowl, and then because of that the ice in the bowl started to melt. So that was one example or experiment of showing my students as to how glacier is melting because of climate change. And then I was also using different types of satellite images, and then I was also referring to climate data from NASA, which stated that about 509 small glaciers have disappeared over the last 50 years. And then I came to this particular topic called disaster. Now, disaster, we all know disaster can be natural as well as man-made. Today, however, a lot of man-made disasters taking place. So during this topic, after, covering the main topic, disaster, we went to this subtopic called mitigation, in which I gave the children a project work in which they had to do their own research based on their local area as to how, some kind of disaster like earthquake, flood has affected that place. And as a result of that disaster, who are the, people, which group has been the most affected ones? And then what were the different, steps taken by the government? And then going on to the last topic, which is psychological disorder. Now, we all know psychological disorder can be genetic, and this can also develop because of the, home environment, because of some traumas. So that psychological disorders today, it's a matter of fact. We all know some people don't want to accept it, but psychological disorders are there. There are people who are living with it. So how can we, embed justice in this topic? So after teaching the children about psychological disorder as to what it is and how it happens, what we can teach the children is, it's okay to have psychological disorder, but it's not okay to exclude people with psychological disorder from our family, from our friend circle. And then it's all about, accepting them and then helping them to be better people every now and then. And in this regard, we can practice sustainable development goal number 3, which focuses on good health and well-being, quality education. Only when people are educated, they will be able to understand that psychological disorder can happen to anyone. It's not that person's fault. Okay, and then after that we can make students aware of the fact that it's okay to accept them, which brings us to this sustainable development goal number 10, which focuses on reduced inequalities. And lastly, psychological well-being can lead towards goal number 17, peace, justice, and strong institution. So all of this together, along with curriculum, can be, uh, related to sustainable development goals in the end. And this is how we are practicing this in our schools. So thank you, Pratik. Over to you.
Thank you, Supriya. So, I'll be talking about basically the subject economics, since I teach that subject in senior secondary level classes 11 and 12. So the first topic which I'll take is from class 11, talking about the common part, since this is like a bit common thing in subject or a syllabus, you can say, in India as well as in other countries as well. So parameters of economic development basically means like in what are the different grounds or what are the different parameters set on which we can say that the economy or any country is developing or not. So I have just taken two. There are many parameters, but I've just taken out two since we're running short of time. So the first parameter that we have is quality of life index, and the second parameter that we have is human development index. So quality of life development index basically states that the people in the economy that we have, are they getting good food? Are they health being looked after? Their education is being looked after or not? So these are the basically the standard of life, their income is increasing or not. So this is the basic things which deals. So there are certain parameters. What should be the health of any country? Like what should be the nutritional level of any country? So keeping this in mind, then only a decision is made that is this country developed or developing. Second thing is like human development index. I think so, like many teachers over here present here, they must be knowing this thing. So human development is basically how we as human beings are developing ourselves. So it starts from the day a child goes to school or the child is born. So it's like primary, pre-primary, then secondary, higher secondary, college. So what is this basically all about? It's all about preparing ourselves for the benefit and the development of the nation. So how can I connect these two with the social or sustainable development goal? The first 7 goals which I talk about, that is 1 to 7, that is goal number 1, which is no poverty, zero hunger, good health, gender equality. All this will come under quality of life, and you can say human development index, like which is an economy, if I talk about, which is not just concerned about increasing the income. You can see your per capita income if I talk about in economics terms, but also to develop the humans, the beings, and to develop the quality of life. So definitely they are targeting to achieve goal 1 to 7. And the next topic which I've taken up is a very important topic. One is producers equilibrium and national income. So since seeing to the time, I'll just talk about national income. We all know what is national income. It's basically the income generated by any economy. The economy is giving payments to different countries, and the economy is receiving payments or receiving money from different countries. So this is the way, like different methods are there to calculating the national. But the question here is, how can I connect these topics with sustainable development goals? So the best thing to connect is goal 16 and 17, which I thought of is, since what will happen if a producer, let's take any producer, if he or she is in equilibrium. Equilibrium means maximum profit. A producer is only in equilibrium when he or she gains the maximum profit. So here, if I say if they're having maximum profit, what will happen? The firm or the organization will run properly. They will get good profit as well. And in a way, what will happen? There will be peace and justice and a strong institution. So I basically connected, you can say, let's say goal SDG 8, 9 and goal 17 and 16 as well, Why? Because 16 and 17 is like, I prefer it most important in economics, because it talks about peace, it talks about justice, and at last it's talk about how we can partnership. Like we just now we are seeing that we are not just from India, but we are basically from across the globe. We are talking about, we are sharing how we can just connect SDG in our curriculum. So this is how we as teachers have tried and embedded justice to curriculum from different subjects. So now I request Amarpreet ma'am, if she could allow the participants to share their views and opinions like what they have shared. Amarpreet ma'am, if you could do so.
Yeah.
Yes, Pratik, thank you so much, Supriya ma'am and Pratik, for sharing your inputs and making it really, really easy for us to understand how to embed justice in social science. So participants, it's your turn now. You can share with us if you found something familiar, something that you are doing with your kids in the classroom, or any questions. You can just raise your hand, and Supriya ma'am will unmute you. And also, if you want, you can put your sharings in the chat, anything that you want. I think, Supriya ma'am, you already put a message there. So which says that if you have any similar conversations, or did you discuss any topics or concepts as we have shared with you today? So anything, anyone? We would just love to hear what do you think of this whole the conversation that we had. Just an informal sharing. You can put your questions and queries in the chat, or you can if you have any questions, you can even ask in the plenary if you want.
Ma'am, we have someone who's raised hand. If you could allow him or her to speak.
All right. Okay. So
it's
yes,
Atula Jetli.
I think it's Atula Jetli. I've asked you to unmute. I think you can unmute yourself. So please do so, and let's hear from you.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I must say that it's really informative how you all teachers have been using these methods in your schools. I'll share.
I think we lost a connection maybe here. Thank you, Vandana ma'am. Thank you for that. And Atula, we can't hear you. Do you want to just try again, please? Swarnika has written something in a chat that when it comes to mental illness, health illness, as an educator, my focus remains on destigmatizing mental health illness instead of normalizing them. I think that's a very good approach. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, I got disconnected. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think I'll definitely make a note of that. And actually, fortunate enough, I was about to start that chapter next week in my class. So I'll definitely take a note of that. And I really hope that helps my students, and I'll be able to make it more interesting for them to prepare for the boards. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your input. Anyone else who would just like to share something that they noticed, something that they've already done, something that they plan to do, anything? Supriya, Rai, would you, sorry, I'm talking about Supriya, who's a part of my team. Sabita, would you like to say something? I see that you are unmuted there. Nothing? All right, you can put in your, inputs in the chat box. Yes, Varnika has said something else. Now it says that it also helps to provide trigger warning before starting social topics to establish a level of comfort and compassion in the classroom. I think these inputs are very, very valuable coming from a teacher who is so sensitive. I'm sure it's going to help us in our own classrooms as well. Excellent inputs. Anything else? Anything that you plan to do? Some takeaway. You can put it in the chat. Nothing from the group yet. Can you send recorded video to the mail? We can do that. If you can put in when we go to the main chat room, ma'am, if you could put in your email address with the same request, and we can definitely look into it. So, Pratik sir, is it time for
Ma'am,
us
can
to?
I add something?
Yes, please go ahead.
I just wanted to share another thing since you asked if any one of us was planning on doing something in the classroom. So, since I mostly deal with topics related to psychological disorders and mental health, I was actually planning that it really helps in the classroom to share real life case studies.
I think that's a very good idea. And, so would you know of any a website or something where the real life case studies are there, which would help all of us to take a look at them?
Ma'am, actually, I think instead of like presenting case studies which they can read, because that they would be doing in the exam as well, but to establish a real connection, what I like to do is I like to present videos. So, for example, if you all might remember, a while ago, there was this very good show called Satyamev Jayate. So from there, a lot of social justice issues were raised. So those audios and videos I like to share in my class.
So I think now we'll be moving to the main room. It's just 10 seconds left. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for your patience and listening. Thank you all.